Let's look at what's involved in the tendering process. Okay, it actually starts with your consulting team. For example, your project manager, your architect, or your development manager. That's where you will start the tendering process. Your project manager or your development manager can handle everything for you if you do not understand how to create a tender. Your estimator, you would need a bill of quantities or a quantity surveyor to give you a bill of quantities of what the costs are going to be. To understand that, we use estimators because it costs us a little bit more, but it gives us an idea of exactly what the cost of the building is going to be to actually build it. And when we get a tender from somebody, we compare what we get from an estimator and what the building contractor has given us. If there is a lot of margin there, we can negotiate the price. Although it costs us about $2,000 to get an estimation done on a project, but that $2,000 can actually save us 10-20 grand on the other side when I'm negotiating a deal, when I'm negotiating the price with the builder. Now, this can be done very easily, but I don't have to worry about that portion because we build our own projects, we do our own costing. So even when we do our own costings, we still get an estimation done and we account for that cost because we want to benchmark against what the estimator says and what our costing says. So what you got to have for the full, you got to have all the documentation. You got to have all the materials and specification, and you can get them from an interior designer or an architect. And these would basically include joinery drawings, color schemes, finishes schedule, and all the drawings and reports that you've got. And a tender can actually be issued through an expression of interest, and it's used for shortlisting. So you send it out to many different building contractors. You can send out a request for information. It is used in planning stage to assist in defining the project, but not to select suppliers. Request for proposal, used where project requirements have been defined, but an innovative or flexible solution is needed. So you are asking them to propose what they would do in your scenario. Request for tender, invitation to tender to a shortlisted pool of contractors and via a builder broker. The project that I'm doing in Brisbane, I have actually been able to get in touch with a builder via a broker, and we actually went to 2-3 different builders and we got different quotes from them, but we decided to go ahead with one of them. And that's how I have been able to get a builder, and we did the full tender process via the builder broker. Types, there's an open tender, basically via public advertisement. Usually you wouldn't do that. Evaluation against stated criteria, so you set up your criteria and other builders will come and bid for that criteria, whether or not they can meet that criteria. You got selected tender, open to your shortlisted contractors recommended by a development manager or architect. Invite a tender where you contact a select number of contractors directly. What are the different steps in a tender process? First thing, determine the type of tender that you're going to use. Prepare tender documents. What does that include? Well, that includes everything from drawings, material and specification, including your PC items, which is the prime cost items, and contractual terms, type of contract, duration, off days allowance, days allowed for inclement weather, scope of works, including landscape or excluding landscape, or you might hire somebody to take it to the lockup stage, and from lockup you might be able to get somebody else to come and finish the job, but usually I wouldn't recommend you split the job like that. It's always better for a single contractor to finish the job in its entirety. All the reports and permits that we've discussed earlier, they are all included in the tender process. Third, you got to invite contractors. You got to have a tender deadline and a notification and debriefing, basically informing the successful and the unsuccessful contractor. And once you're happy, you have a meeting with them, and then you sign the building contract. So that's your tender process. And let's move on to the next one.